Hi there, Steph. Thanks for popping by. So for today's card, I use a clearly Besotted stamp set called Pretty Pansies. I stamped with some Memento Tuxedo Black on some Nina Solar White. I did some little mask with a little bit of post-it, and then I stamped my images around it, and it's a birthday card, as you can see. So I like kind of creating a frame around the main sentiment of the card. So there's quite a lot of flowers to color there, so that did take a little while. But I will jump a few jump a few steps, kind of, to make the video not too lengthy. So I started with the coloring, and I picked a red color scheme, and I often find myself struggling with the first flower. I'm not quite sure why. I've not been coloring a lot recently, so it might be that. So the first flower is kind of like, but as I work on it, I kind of find my path, if that makes sense. The order in which I color, apply the color, blend them together. So here I kind of wanted a really dark center. So I had a really dark red, and then a red, and then a medium light red, and then a very, very light red. And eventually I kind of got, I got there eventually. I did need a really juicy, very light red, but it's called, I think, light cherry, white cherry, I think is the name of that very, very light color. But it needs to be really juicy to kind of blend well with the other reds. Here I tried the technique on that little flower, and it was horrible, so don't do that. It didn't work. I thought a darker color would work quite well, and I kind of wanted to create contrast between the big flowers and the small flowers. And then in the end, I think it works out pretty well, because it looks like the small flowers are actually in the background. Not that they're smaller, but they just look like they're further away. And I think that looks quite cool on the final card. So here, very straightforward. I used a red, I think it's R29. Not that it's important, because you probably don't have the same color. And then a really dark red. You could use a dark brown as well if you want to kind of create a good contrast. And I will use a little bit of that white cherry color. You can't really see it on camera, but when your color is very uniform, when you put that ink and it's really uniform, using that really light marker kind of helps create some sort of texture on your petal. It's very subtle, don't get me wrong, but I think it looks quite nice when you see the card in real. Then for the leaves, I went with my favorite combo now. I didn't used to do that, but I really like it now. I went with that yellowy green color, which it looks more like pale yellow, really. And then I went with a moss green color, a light moss green, and then pale olive color, I think it's called. And finally, no, sorry, not finally. Then I will go with a sepia, and then with a dark brown, which is burnt umber or something like that. Turns out my sepia ran out of ink for like properly ran out of ink. Couldn't get anything out of it after that first cluster of leaves. So for the other petal, which you won't see because I skipped that step, I will just go straight to the very dark brown. And then blend again with the pale olive, which helps me kind of go from that really dark to really light. And once I'm finished with this color, I will go with a yellow, and I will add some yellow onto the lighter spot. I think it just adds a little bit of that autumnal note, and I think it looks quite nice. So here I finished all the petal. They look very similar from far away. You really don't see that there's one color that's not there, as long as you do your blending really well. And again, that took quite a long while because there's quite a lot of leaves. And then I move on to the shading. So my gritting, the light is technically coming from my gritting, so I'm placing my shading that way. So as you can see, the dark is kind of away from the greeting. I'm not very good at explaining that thing, but I'm hoping that it makes sense when you see me do it. I did speed that up quite a lot because it took me quite a while. And I do go from what was it? Sorry, W753 and then 1. So normally I kind of do 1 and then I blend with some 0 to kind of do what I think that I called melt the edges. It's not a real thing. But here what I decided to do is finish the outside behind the leaves with a W1, which is like super mega subtle. You probably can't even see it on a photo, but it means that the bottom edges and the left edges are a little bit darker than around the gritting, and it just creates that hint of extra shading, but it's like super mega subtle. There's only me to go that far, and it's probably why nowadays it takes me 2 hours to make a card when it used to take 45 minutes. So anyway, I retraced my outline with my Sakura Micron pigment pen, sorry. Pigma pigment pen. I'm sure I'm getting that name wrong. Here I'm using a Post-it because by the when I reached that stage, I had ink all over my fingers and I started making stains. So I've been using that Post-it to not put my finger on the ink, basically. So I've retraced all my outlines, and here I'm adding accent with my Sakura white gel pen, and it always makes a nice difference. It does look really nice to have a good contrast on the card, really. And you cannot see it, literally not see it. Copic Pica, which is the glittery pen, and I will show you in a minute why I actually take the time to apply that pen, because although you can't see it right now, once you tilt the card you get that gorgeous shimmer, and it goes so well with these flowery cards because I think it's really elegant, and it adds that touch of sparkly glittery thing that girls like. I mean, I like glitter. Here you go. It really is worth it. You can't see it straight away, but it's really worth it. So I hope you find that video interesting. Please don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.